Hi, everyone. Gerry Dulac along with Ray Fittipaldo. We're at the Steelers South Side facility. Your Steeler Report brought to you by Savinas, Kane, and Gallucci, mesothelioma and asbestos lawyers with 85 years of experience. Go to sdklaw.com for more information. Ray, short week for the Steelers. Cincinnati Bengals Thursday night in Cincinnati. And when you look at the Steelers secondary, the moves they made in the offseason, bringing in Jalen Ramsey, bringing in Darius Slay, cover corners to go with Joey Porter Jr. The reason they did it primarily is this week, the Cincinnati Bengals, two wide receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. That's why they made this move, and this is going to be the first time. Look, we know what they've been doing with it, but it's really what Mike Tomlin had in mind when they made all the moves.
Absolutely. They assumed Joe Burrow was going to be quarterback. Instead, it's going to be Joe Flacco, but nonetheless, Jerry, we know what Joe Flacco can do. And listen, you're absolutely right. And, we were talking to Darius Slay this morning in the early locker room, and he said, boy, I wish Jalen and I were together earlier in our career. It would have been really good back then. But, Slay was saying that it's funny. He lets Jalen and Joey Porter argue about who's going to get Chase and who's going to get Higgins. He said, at one point in my career, that was me. But
he did that, right.
Yeah, you just tell me what to do. I'll be there now. He's 34. He's got a few years on Joey and Jalen.
Yeah, he said he gets the leftovers. Ray, T. Higgins came in 20, and I believe Jamar Chase came in 21.
Right.
Actually, though, this is only the fifth time both of them will be on the field together against the Steelers, because it just seems so often. Jamar Chase has been hurt. Yeah. I think he's only played 6 games against the Steelers, and T. Higgins has been hurt as well, but he's played 8 games. He's actually had the better production against the Steelers, more so than Jamar Chase. But it's still going to be interesting to see how the Steelers deploy these guys. Go back to the summer when Mike Tomlin was talking about bringing these guys in. He says, we don't care what other teams do offensively. We got guys that can match up and do whatever they need to do. And he talked about, so many teams have depth at that position. He said, you need the depth at the cornerback position.
Yeah, and listen, I think we all assume maybe Jalen Ramsey would get the assignment on a guy like Jamar Chase, and maybe Joey Porter would get T. Higgins. But listen, Jalen is still coming off that injury. Listen, he was fine in that game on Sunday against the Browns, but you're coming back on 4 days rest. Do you really want to have him chase the entire game? We'll see what the plan is, but whether it's Joey, Jalen, even Slay, they got guys who can match up across the board now.
Ray, you look at the quarterback position, Aaron Rodgers against Joe Flacco. It's only the third time in NFL history 2 40-year-old quarterbacks face each other as starters in a game. Happened twice, actually, in 2020 when it was Drew Brees and Tom Brady when they both played in the same division. So it's a bit of a rarity to see 2 40-something quarterbacks starting against each other.
I'm writing about Joe Flacco later in the week, Jerry, and the Steelers ended the Joe Flacco era in Baltimore back in 2018. They beat the Ravens before their bye week. Joe Flacco was injured in that game, and that ushered in the Lamar Jackson era. And here we are 7 years later, and for Joe Flacco, 6 teams later, he's still playing, and he's playing at a high level. He was a backup for a few of those years, Jerry. He bounced around to the Broncos, Jets, a few other teams, the Colts, who beat the Steelers last year. But he's still
He beat the Steelers.
He came off the bench and beat them. He's still now a starting quarterback at the age of 40. You really have to appreciate that. And Terrell Austin said today that sometimes guys bounce around, but the guys who don't quit, the guys who are mentally tough, those are the guys who have staying power. And Joe Flacco obviously has staying power.
And part of the reason he's bounced around too, Ray, is because people thought, he was going to go retire. But the fact that he was sitting out there and teams want to bring in a veteran quarterback who they know can perform well and has performed well, then they keep calling him. So actually, you look at the last 3 teams, it was all after they thought Joe Flacco's retired, but they keep calling him back, and he keeps coming.
Yeah, and listen, eventually your legs do go. People, theorize that's what happened with Roethlisberger. Joe Flacco has such a big arm. When you have an arm like that, you could still be a pocket passer in today's NFL if you know how to read defenses and you know how to get the ball out. So the fact that he's not mobile, or at least as mobile as he was early in his career, doesn't really matter. He knows how to get the ball out and attack defenses.
Ray, in his day, and of course we know he actually started at Pitt and went to Delaware, but that's a long ago story. But in his day in the NFL, I always thought he was the best deep thrower of the football there was in the league. He showed it time and time again.
Yeah, listen, he is 12-13 against the Steelers all time. And we can go back to 2008. The Steelers beat him 3 times then. They beat them in 2010 in the playoffs as well. But there were a lot of times in those early years where he was a thorn in the Steelers' side. He would make big plays against the Steelers. He led the Ravens to victories in Pittsburgh. So this is a guy who has been a problem for this defense for a long time, and that's spanning Dick LeBeau, Keith Butler, Mike Tomlin, Terrell Watson. It doesn't really matter who coordinates the defense. Joe Flacco knows how to play against the Steelers.
Well, apparently, too, Ray, that he is still a thorn in their side because we heard Mike Tomlin the other day at his weekly press conference on Monday rip the Browns and criticize take a shot at the Browns GM, Andrew Berry, for trading in division, sending Flacco to the Bengals, saying he must be smarter than me and us. And you don't hear Mike Tomlin say that too often about any team, let alone a general manager.
That was a rare occurrence. Mike might have some opinions, but he doesn't often share them, in a forum like that. So for him to say that, you could tell it really bothered him. I think Flacco was a part of that. I also think he maybe had Kevin Stefanski's back a little bit. The coaching fraternity thing.
Who said he didn't even know he was being traded.
Yeah.
He was unaware that they were going to make that deal.
And Mike and the Steelers, it's all about trying to win each and every year. It's never about the future. So for Andrew Berry to go and make a move like that, I think it kind of speaks against, or it goes against the competitive balance of the NFL and what Mike and the Steelers believe it should be for every team.
Different circumstances, Ray, but it reminded me of the time when Bill Cowher was annoyed at Butch Davis, the Browns coach, for referring to him as Cowher one time. And so then Bill Cowher, during one of the press conferences, referred to Butch Davis as that Davis up there, So, but it was kind of the same thing, sniping at each organization.
Hey, nothing wrong with a little bit AFC Central or AFC North coaching rivalries. Go back to Chuck Noll and Sam Weiss, go back to Chuck Noll and, some of the others, Jerry Glanville and Houston. I don't know if he had a beef with Sam Rutigliano. But,
probably not. He was too nice a guy.
Too nice of a guy. But, it's it feeds the rivalry, and I think in the end it's good.
Steelers have not been very good on Thursday night road games, 2-9 under Mike Tomlin. That's not a surprise, though, Ray. Thursday night road games are very difficult for a team. We'll see how they come out of this one. They've won 3 in a row. They're 4-1. The Bengals have lost 3 in a row, and there we go. Those
lantern flies.
Right, the lantern flies attacking us during the broadcast. Ray and I will be in Paycor Stadium Thursday night. We'll have a report for you after the game, as we always do. For Ray Fittipaldo, I'm Gerry Dulac. You're watching PostGazette.com.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.